talk about the. So you have heard about the dural AV fistula and the treatment, and now I'm going to talk about the how preserve the sinus. The last talk is about the treatment. I have no conflict of interest. I would say the treatment, as you listening already. So we have two types of the treatment: venous sinus occlusion, which is suitable for the aggressive type, and the isolated sinus. But now I'm going to talk about the venous sinus preservation, which is reserved for the benign type, and the single diseases sinus that drain also the brain. Just because if you use the transvenous approach, you use a fiber coil, for example, you occlude the sinus. And also liquid embolic material, sometimes you occlude the sinus. And also transarterial approach, you occlude the sinus. Sometimes you need the transvenous balloon remodeling to preserve the sinus. So you can look around the literature about the technique, the detail of the materials. The idea is that when you have the disease and then you use the embolic material, sometimes the embolic material goes into the sinus and then you occlude the sinus, right? And also the coil, you use the coil, pack the sinus, and then it's occluded. But how can you preserve the sinus? You use the balloon inflation inside the venous sinus, and then you use the liquid embolic material to fill just only the shunt and the foot of the drainage vein. And then you deflate the balloon. Then the sinus can drain the brain. Before you do that, you need a balloon that has special characteristics. You need a long and large balloon to blow into the sinus. You need to get an easy inflation and deflation balloon. You need to place at the adequate position. Otherwise, you are not going to cover the major venous drainage of the vein to preserve that. And you need to have a proper balloon conformability. You cannot use a high pressure balloon because it's too stiff and it's not, it doesn't have a good conformability. And also you need to have a DMSO compatible. Otherwise, you cannot use the non-adhesive liquid material, okay? I can show you the example. This is a case of doing transarterial embolization with transvenous balloon remodeling. 47-year-old come with chronic headache and behavioral change. So the CT show left temporal edema and venous congestion. Okay, so you see the right transverse sinus is not opacified. That means you have only single transverse sigmoid junction. And then we do the angiogram. So you can see the late venous phase on the right internal carotid artery. You cannot see the superior sagittal sinus. You cannot see the less of the sinus. The normal brain drains into the cavernous sinus and into the superior ophthalmic vein. So the patient also presented with red eye. The red eye because of the drainage of the normal brain. So you cannot see the superior sagittal sinus and torcular and also transverse sigmoid junction. So the right ECA, you see the shunt here at the left transverse sigmoid junction. Left internal carotid artery, you cannot see the normal venous sinus. You can see only the normal brain drainage into the cavernous sinus and also into the superior ophthalmic vein. Now you see the shunt here from the MHT on the left. Now you see the cause of the congestion. You see an aggressive dural AV fistula located at left transverse sigmoid junction, and it used transverse sigmoid and superior sagittal sinus. So actually the treatment is straightforward if you sacrifice this segment. But as the previous presenter mentioned, if you have put the patient into a chronic venous congestion, you may have cavernoma in the future. So why not you preserve the sinus to let the normal brain drainage? Okay. This is the EZA on the lateral view. Also, you have the shunt reflux into the internal, the deep vein. Okay. Lateral view. So the plan is to preserve the sinus. For the transverse sigmoid junction, you need to have, you need to be cautious about the normal brain drainage, especially superior dorsal sinus and the lateral vein. So all the time, especially if you do benign type dural AV fistula, you need to preserve the vein. Otherwise, you're going to have a massive brain edema or hemorrhage if you occlude the normal brain drainage. So this case, unfortunately, the jugular vein was occluded below the facial vein. So I need to do a complicated procedure by direct puncture to the jugular vein. And then I place the balloon to cover the transverse sigmoid junction. For the transarterial side, I used the, I couldn't remember, I used the echelon 10, okay, which is DMSO compatible, and then I inject the onyx. Okay, this is compare between pre and post procedure. Now, if you see before and after, now you get the normal brain can drain into the superior and transverse sigmoid junction on the left side, which is only one drainage left. Okay, before and after the operation, you're gonna see left transverse and sigmoid junction preservation. So we do a long-term follow-up because we are afraid that somebody may comment that, oh, it's only short-term, the sinus may be occluded. No, we have a long-term follow-up and the sinus still patent. Okay, and the patient has good recovery. Second case. This case, I got, the first case, you see transarterial embolization. This case, we did transvenous embolization using the transvenous balloon remodeling. Okay. This man presented with the intracranial pressure, intracranial hypertension because he has papilledema, both eyes, and visual deterioration. Just because the patient has dural AV fistula at the torcular and the superior sagittal sinus, and also the right transverse sinus here. So here you see the shunt here at the posterior 1/3 of the superior sagittal sinus. And here you see the shunt at the torcular. Here you see the shunt at the right transverse sinus. So you have only single venous drainage that drain the shunt and also the brain. So we need to preserve that. And you can see the superior sagittal sinus use, there's an obstruction here at the posterior 1/3 of the sinus, but the rest of the sinus drain into the scalp veins and also the diaphragmatic channels. So the rest of the superior sagittal sinus are okay. So we need to occlude here, there, and the trochlear halophili, and preserve the straight sinus. How can we do it? Sorry, okay. Sorry, it takes some time. Okay. Okay, I went from the left jugular, and then I used the balloon to protect the left transverse sinus and also the straight sinus. For the rest of the sinus, I sacrifice it. Okay. And then this is after embolization. The shunt was gone. And this is the after embolization. Sorry, the video doesn't work. But you can see the drainage of the brain. The straight sinus was preserved. Here. The transverse sinus was preserved. Okay. So we have good long-term follow-up. The visual symptom getting better. The last case, transarterial embolization with, actually we have 4, but I'll go with the last one. This is the septated sinus. You can see the location of the shunt was at the transverse sigmoid junction, but you can see a septated sinus. The lower one drained the brain, and the upper one drained the shunt. And luckily, the lateral vein drained into the posterior part of the shunt. Okay, so what I did is placing the transarterial catheter into the arterial feeder, and then press the balloon here at the normal sinus. Why we need the balloon in this case? I thought that, so I need a good pressurized plug for the onyx cast to go into the fistula, so that's why I need the balloon. So this is after the embolization. So you can see preserve the normal brain, sorry. We preserve the superior peritosal vein, superior peritosal sinus, and the lateral vein, okay? And this is the post-embo. All right. So I think the time is over.
Thank you very much. Very nice cases.
Thank you.